Want to speak real Polish from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at polishpod101.com.
Laptop, 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 laptop. Laptop is basically a laptop, and that's the best idea for a gift for yourself, because it's pretty expensive. So if you are a guy, you would say kupiłem nowy laptop. If you are a girl, you would say kupiłam nowy laptop. And that basically means I bought a new laptop for myself. Książka, book. Książka. Very difficult to pronounce in Polish, I guess. Książka. Książka means a book. And for example, when you get yourself a nice book and you go back to your country, you can brag about it to your friends and say, oh, tę książkę kupiłam w Polsce. I bought this book in Poland. By the way, be careful to say tę książkę, not tą książkę. You may hear tą książkę, and it's actually okay to say it in a spoken form. It's not okay in a written one. Yet a lot of native speakers make this mistake. You can hear it on TV, news broadcasters, politicians, even very smart people, even teachers, Polish teachers, they make this mistake. So I think pretty soon it will be a correct form, even in a written form. For now, you can say tą książkę, but it's not correct. Tę książkę is the correct form. Mapa świata, world map. So the next one is something you can buy for your friend who loves to travel the world, who's like a vagabond and loves to go from country to country. And the best gift for a person like that would be mapa świata. Mapa świata means world map. If you are a person like that and somebody gets you one, you can say dostałam mapę świata. If you're a girl. If you're a guy, you would say dostałem mapę świata, which means I got a world map. Aparat fotograficzny, camera. So now, another very expensive gift that you probably buy more for yourself than for somebody else is aparat fotograficzny. Aparat fotograficzny means camera, and be careful because in Polish, camera, which is kamera, in Polish it means just the video camera. So for camera, like taking pictures camera, it's aparat fotograficzny. So again, if you bought this new camera for yourself, this new aparat fotograficzny, you can say to jest mój nowy aparat fotograficzny. This is my new camera. Smartphone, smartphone. Okay, so our next word is smartphone. Smartphone, basically, it means smartphone. I guess the accent is a little bit different, more Polish-like. The biggest difference is in the spelling. You can spell it with PH, but you really don't. You do spell it with F, smartphone. Okay, so when you see your friend playing with his new maybe smartphone, you can ask, oh, masz nowego smartfona? Do you have a new smartphone? Skończę survival phrases na polishpod101.com słuchając 2 lekcji dziennie. I will finish survival phrases series on polishpod101.com by listening to 2 lessons a day. Skończę survival phrases na polishpod101.com słuchając 2 lekcji dziennie. Which means I will finish survival phrases series on polishpod101.com by listening to 2 lessons a day. To set yourself a realistic goal, and then when you can actually measure what you did, and every day you listen just to 2 lessons, it's roughly maybe 20, 25, 30 minutes. If you want to review, it can be up to 1 hour, but it's very easy to do. So I would say, like, set yourself realistic goals and you know, give yourself feedback and challenge yourself and try to do little by little, you know, baby steps every day. And this is something that will lead you to success in language learning. Skończę książkę po polsku czytając 10 stron dziennie. I will finish reading 1 Polish book by reading 10 pages a day. Skończę książkę po polsku czytając 10 stron dziennie. You will finish which means I will finish reading one Polish book by reading 10 pages a day. 10 pages a day doesn't seem like a big challenge, right? Yet, it's really possible to finish even the longest book by just doing that, just 10 pages a day. When you are choosing a book, remember about one very important thing. Don't choose book that is too difficult for you. So choose book where you can read it without actually looking up words in the dictionary. What I mean is that if you spend more time looking for words in dictionary than reading the book, the whole fun is not there. That's one thing. This is not helping you to learn. So that's one very important rule. Choose book that is at your level and then just try to read 10 pages a day. And maybe one day you'll say, oh, 15 or 20 because it's so interesting. So just remember, choose interesting book, not too high level, and read at least 10 pages a day. And that's something everybody can do. Good luck! Zdam test z polskiego. I will pass my Polish test. Zdam test z polskiego, which means I will pass my Polish test. So maybe you are on vacation in Poland and you are taking some kind of Polish language course, and there's a lot of courses offered all around the Poland, a very nice way to spend your vacation as well. And then, of course it's nice to take different kind of courses, but then, you've got some kind of Polish certificate or Polish test, and that's a good goal to set for yourself. And once you do it, once you pass it, it's like, oh, this kind of feeling of achievement that makes you happier about yourself and makes you, you wanna do more, you wanna try more. Yeah, it's a good goal for your language learning, and you can study with polishpod101.com materials and prepare yourself for a Polish, for example, certificate course. So good luck! Zrozumiem w pełni jeden polski film, oglądając go codziennie. I will fully understand one Polish movie by watching it every day. Zrozumiem w pełni jeden polski film, oglądając go codziennie. Which means I will fully understand one Polish movie by watching it every day. And don't be, too hard on yourself, even if you don't understand it fully. It's okay. Once you get the general plot, that's perfect. That's a very good practice. You don't have to understand every single grammar point in every single sentence. That's not the point. Watch, enjoy, and good movies for that. I would recommend you Killer, which basically the Polish title is Killer, which is a very funny comedy and very relaxing, and I guess the language is not so difficult, so that's one of the movies I would recommend you. Totally, watch Killer. Przedstawię się po polsku moim polskim przyjaciołom w ciągu 3 minut. I will give a 3-minute introductory speech in Polish to my Polish friends. Przedstawię się po polsku moim polskim przyjaciołom w ciągu 3 minut. This basically means I will give a 3-minute introductory speech in Polish to my Polish friends. What's so good about this goal is that you actually tell yourself, oh, 2 sentences is not enough. You have to go further. You have to say something more like my name is. It's not enough anymore. So 3 minutes, it's setting a realistic goal. You can measure it with actually a clock. And this is something you can achieve within the first few months of the year. And then from that, you can go up. Good luck with that one. Plecak. Backpack. Plecak, which basically means backpack. I guess it comes from Polish word plecy, which is a bag. So plecak, it's something you put on your back, backpack. So you can say zapakuj to do plecaka, pack this in the backpack. Kolega z klasy, classmate. Kolega z klasy, classmate. So introducing your classmate, if he is a guy, you can say to jest mój kolega z klasy. This is my classmate. If it's a girl, to jest moja koleżanka z klasy. This is my classmate who is a girl. We say, this kolega, koleżanka. We use it like a friend, but not a very close friend. Praca domowa. Homework. Praca domowa, which basically is homework. Praca means work and domowa is like homes. So praca domowa is basically homework. It's not one word, it's 2 separate words. You can ask your kid, odrobiłeś już pracę domową? Have you done your homework yet? Egzamin. Exam. Egzamin, which basically means exam, and it probably comes from English, but the spelling is very different, so pay attention to spelling. And when you have very important exam next day, you can say, jutro mam ważny egzamin. Tomorrow I have a very important exam. Jutro mam ważny egzamin. Especially up to high school, we say sprawdzian, which comes from sprawdzać, which means to check, so sprawdzian means to checking the knowledge. And I guess once you're at the university, you will call it colloquium, which is the sprawdzian, but at the university level. For whatever the reason, we've got another name for that. Letnie wakacje, summer break. Letnie wakacje, summer break. Co będziesz robił w wakacje letnie? What will you be doing during the summer break? Co będziesz robił w wakacje letnie? You know, summer break actually in Polish schools, it's pretty long. So up to high school, we got like 2 months of summer break, basically July and August. And because the school ends at the end of June, but there's still usually 1 week left, so it's like 2 months and 1 week, small week. Wyjdziesz za mnie? Will you marry me? And I guess, well, it's the simplest one, the shortest one, and the most effective one as well. You may already know the word wyjść, which means to go out. So it's kind of like using the word to go out, but then putting this weird preposition, which usually doesn't come with the word to go out, which is za, and then myself, mnie, wyjdziesz za mnie, which basically means, will you marry me? But if you ever forget how to say it, just think, oh no, go out, go out, go out. Okay, wyjść, wyjdziesz, okay, wyjdziesz za mnie. And the funny part is that, the very, very useful part is that you can use the same phrase for both guys and girls, and both guys and girls can use it. So it's very, very convenient. Czy zrobisz mi ten zaszczyt i zostaniesz moją żoną? Will you do me the honor of becoming my wife? And obviously, because it's my wife, well, you can say it only to a girl. And yeah, czy zrobisz mi ten zaszczyt sounds very traditional, like will you do me an honor or will you do me the honor? It's like in English, it sounds very pathetic, very traditional, very, very old-fashioned, I guess. So yeah, for me, I don't think I would like my boyfriend to say that. It'd be a little bit weird, but I guess it really depends on the person, and you probably know your lady best, so you can decide for the longer one, for this one, even though she will like it. Czy sprawisz, że zostanę najszczęśliwszym mężczyzną na ziemi? Will you make me the happiest man alive? Yeah, I don't know, like maybe I'm not so old-fashioned. It's not something I would like to hear, but I've been never dreaming of this white dress and marriage and stuff like that, while my friends were, and they already married and they already have kids and they already have their own households, and I'm not married and I don't have any kids and I don't have my own house and I'm not even looking for that, to be honest. So I guess if you're more like old-fashioned, traditional household style, then you will go for the longer one. If you're like me, you will just go for the shortened one and then maybe think of very nice way to say it, very nice praise to say it, and so on. So our next phrase is czekałem na ciebie całe życie. I've been waiting for you my whole life. Czekałem na ciebie całe życie. And since czekałem is in masculine form, then yeah, a guy can use it to a girl or a guy, if you prefer. That's masculine form. If you are a girl and you really want to use this one, you will say czekałam. Czekałam na ciebie całe życie. I've been waiting for you my whole life. Czekałem, czekałam. Yeah, so small, tiny little difference. And yet again, not something I would like to hear, maybe. I don't know, maybe I'm not romantic enough for this stuff. Or maybe I would like to actually hear that. Not sure. Undecided. Okay, let's go to the next one. Chcę być z tobą na zawsze. I want to be with you forever. Gosh, yeah. That's another one that for me it sounds a little bit cheesy, but then again, when I see like when I hear like I want to be with you forever, this sounds pretty cool actually, but then the Polish translation, which is okay, which is something people will use, chcę być z tobą na zawsze, chcę być z tobą na zawsze, I don't know, it doesn't sound so cool as in English. I have no idea why. It's just it. But yeah, it really depends on the person, right? Jadę do. I would like to go to. The first and the most important one is jadę do. Jadę do Krakowa, jadę do Torunia, jadę do Poznania, jadę do Wrocławia. So, jadę do means I would like to go to. Luckily for you, this phrase is very short, first of all, and it's the same for male and female, so you don't have to change. Well, if you want to use the plural form, would be jedziemy do. Jedziemy do. So the preposition stays the same, do, and we just change the verb from jadę to jedziemy. And you can say, for example, jedziemy do Gdańska, jedziemy do Krakowa, jedziemy do Torunia, jedziemy do Poznania. So you may have noticed already that the name of the city changes. Like Toruń becomes Torunia, Gdańsk becomes Gdańska, Wrocław becomes Wrocławia, Kraków becomes Krakowa, Łódź becomes Łodzi, and this is because the case changes. So we change the case to genitive case. That's the second one, second case. So when you use preposition do, as in jadę do, you change it to the second case. So the name of the city will change. Jadę do Warszawy. We don't say jadę do Warszawa. That's a mistake. Jadę do Warszawy. And actually I said it means I would like to go to, but like very literally it means I'm going to, I'm heading to. Czy z tego peronu odjeżdża pociąg do? Is this the right platform for? Wow, and our next one is something you would definitely need in Poland, because this changes a lot. It's a very long one, so be prepared. Czy z tego peronu odjeżdża pociąg do? Is this the right platform for? So let's just look at this phrase a little bit closer. So first we have the particle czy, that's asking. Z tego peronu, from this platform, odjeżdża, leaves. And then pociąg do, train to. Czy z tego peronu odjeżdża pociąg do? That's the whole phrase. And you can say, czy z tego peronu odjeżdża pociąg do Warszawy? Is this the right platform for Warsaw? Czy z tego peronu odjeżdża pociąg do Torunia? Is this the right platform for Toruń? And as you probably notice, there is the same preposition do as in the previous one, jadę do. Hence, we change the name of the city. So again, Toruń becomes Torunia, Warszawa becomes Warszawy, and Kraków becomes Krakowa, and so on and so on. So remember to change the name of the city. And it is very important for you to remember to memorize this phrase, because in Poland, sadly, especially as far as I remember in Warsaw, in the central station, platforms change very often, like last minute, 5 minutes to train, and they say, oh, the platform was changed from number 5 to number 1, and you run. And it really happens very often, and it's very hectic, and it's like, yeah, so not to panic, that's the first rule, and then run, that's the second rule, and ask, that's the third rule. So don't, even if you go to the platform, the right platform, don't just rest reassured that it's okay and I'm just waiting and just relax. It's okay to relax, but always check if this is the right platform again and again, because it really changes a lot. O której jest ostatni pociąg? What time is the last train? Our next phrase is o której jest ostatnie metro, which is actually a sentence, and it means what time is the last metro? O której jest ostatnie metro? So, if you're in Warsaw, it's very common to travel with metro, even though we have only actually 2 lines, but it's going through the whole Warsaw. It is really, really, really convenient. And one thing to remember about Warsaw, well, buses are basically 24/7. Only that, at night you have to pay like small additional charge for the ticket. And the other thing about buses is that, well, it's very convenient because all the buses are going to the city center at night, and all the buses are going out from the city center. So basically, if you're really drunk and you were at a party and you want to get home, just take any bus, and sooner or later you end up in the city center, and then you can take the correct bus or the right bus that's going to your house. Nevertheless, it takes time, and metro is more convenient. During the weekdays, it's still running pretty late and then starting pretty fast. But during the weekends, it's running 24/7, so it's really, really convenient. Just find the bus stop and get to the bus and go to the city center, get to the correct bus. And that's it. And you can go back home anytime you want, without paying for taxi. Gdzie mam się przesiąść w pociąg do? Where do I change for? Okay, the next very important phrase is gdzie mam się przesiąść w pociąg do? Gdzie mam się przesiąść w pociąg do? Where do I change for? Actually, where do I change for a train to? That would be maybe more correct translation. For example, you can say gdzie mam się przesiąść w pociąg do Wrocławia? Where do I change for the train to Wrocław? Gdzie mam się przesiąść w pociąg do Krakowa? Where do I change to a train to Kraków, or for a train to Kraków? And as you may already remember, and if not, then please try to memorize that. After the preposition do, we use the second case, the genitive case. So we change the name of the city again: Kraków, Krakowa, Warszawa, Warszawy, Wrocław, Wrocławia, and so on and so on. Opole, my hometown, to Opola. Gdzie jest stacja kolejowa? Where is the train station? Even if you know all those phrases, you will never ever get to the right place if you don't know this one. Gdzie jest stacja kolejowa? Gdzie jest stacja kolejowa? Where is the train station? So you may already know that gdzie means where, and stacja kolejowa is just train station. Usually the main train station will be somewhere around the city center, but for bigger cities they will have few train stations like around the city, even though within the city you don't really travel by train. You travel by trams, you travel by buses. Well, in Warsaw there is metro as well, but you don't really travel by train within the city. But you will still even like maybe medium or big cities, you will have few train stations located around the city, with the main train station usually in the city center, or I think 99.9% of examples it will be so. Sweater, sweater, sweater. Sweater basically means sweater. What you can hear often from your mom, if your mom is Polish, it would be załóż sweter, which means put on the sweater. So basically Polish moms are very much concerned about your health, and whenever it's getting colder and it's at autumn and they would like, oh, put on the sweater, załóż sweter. Deszczowy, rainy. Deszczowy, rainy. So deszcz means rain in Polish, and deszczowy, it's an adjective. For example, we can say dzisiaj jest bardzo deszczowy dzień. Today is a very rainy day. When autumn comes in Poland, we got a lot of rainy days. It's not as bad as rainy seasons in some other countries, but be sure to get your umbrella ready. Wietrzny, windy. Wietrzny. Wietrzny means windy. We got a lot of windy days in październik and in listopad, which is basically October and November. So for example, you can say listopad jest raczej wietrzny, which means November is rather windy. Chłodny, cool, cold. Chłodny. Chłodny means cool or cold, and it's an adjective. It can be used to speak about weather. So for example, you can say październik w Polsce jest chłodny. October in Poland is cold. You can also use it about person's character. So for example, you can say that this person is chłodny, chłodna, depending on the gender, and this means that this person is just distance. Jesień, autumn. And the next one is jesień. Jesień means autumn. So you can say lubię jesień w Polsce. I like autumn in Poland. Which I actually do because it's very beautiful. We do have all those leaves with like beautiful colors, orange and gold. And there is a lot of things to do, and you can go for a very nice walk around listopad or grudzień, which is November and December. It's getting quite cold, quite chłodno, and it's better to put on a jacket. Still, it's very nice for a walk.
Want to speak real Polish from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at polishpod101.com.
Pójść do zoo, to go to the zoo. Pójść do zoo, to go to the zoo. And that's something you can enjoy almost everywhere. We got pretty nice zoos all spread all over Poland. There's actually a very nice one in my hometown, which is located on a small island. My hometown is called Opole, and the zoo is located in a small island in the middle of a river, and it's really amazing. I personally don't like zoos because I don't like seeing all those animals in cages, but over there is almost no cages, and it's so spacious because it's like takes the whole island literally. So that's very nice thing about it. So for example, you can say pójdziemy do zoo w weekend. Will we go to the zoo on the weekend? Urządzić piknik. To have a picnic. Another one you can enjoy would be urządzić piknik. To have a picnic. And usually, I mean, if you are living in a big city, you don't have your own garden, so you just go to a park. But if you live in any of those smaller ones, and it doesn't have to be really small, but a lot of places, like people tend to have their own gardens, so they will just have a picnic in a garden, in their own garden. It's very popular in summer. Maybe early autumn or something like that when it's still not so cold, or late spring, obviously not winter. But yes, it's very popular for kids going with their parents or for couples going to a picnic. We love to eat outside, we love to sit outside and enjoy the nature. Urządzimy piknik w parku. Will we have a picnic in park? Iść na kolację i obejrzeć film. To have dinner and see a movie. Iść na kolację i obejrzeć film. To have dinner and see a movie. This would be one of the most popular options, I guess. That's what I usually do. When I go out with my boyfriend, we just have dinner and maybe a couple of drinks, and then we go and see a movie or two. And I think that's the easiest one to arrange for Valentine's or any other day, because it doesn't really depend so much on the weather. W piątek idziemy na kolację, a potem obejrzymy film. On Friday we will go for a dinner and then we will watch a movie. Przejechać się promem. To take a ferry ride. Przejechać się promem. to take a ferry ride. So I guess you can do it kind of on the big river, Wisła River, in Warsaw, or when you go to the sea, you can enjoy that too. Not in a lot of places, but the places where you can do that, it's amazing. It's very nice. It's a very nice thing to do, especially in summer. So, for example, if you are going for this romantic evening, you can say, wieczorem przejedziemy się promem. In the evening, we'll take a ferry ride. I am a big fan of those wonderful white beaches which we don't have in Poland. But after seeing lots of beaches around the world, I know that Polish beaches are amazing. They are amazing. They're not white, but kind of gold. But they are very long, beautiful, and a very nice place for a romantic date, especially in summer. So another thing you can do is spacerować po plaży, to walk on the beach. Spacerować po plaży, to walk on the beach. So if you like this late evening walks on the beach, you can say wieczorem przespacujemy się po plaży. In the evening we will walk on the beach. Świątynia means a temple, and you will not find a lot of temples in Poland, like very close to zero, but sometimes we call a church a temple as well. So sometimes we actually refer to a church as świątynia, or świątynia Boga, like the God's temple or something like that. And for example, you can say, zróbmy sobie zdjęcie przed świątynią. Zróbmy sobie zdjęcie przed świątynią. Let's take a picture in front of a temple. Another one, meczet, mosque. There are some places where we still have some. In my hometown, we used to have one. We don't have it anymore, but everybody knows where it used to be, so everybody refers to that place, well, you know, this place where a meczet was, where a mosque was. And in a sentence, you can use this word like this. Ten meczet jest bardzo stary. Ten meczet jest bardzo stary. This mosque is very old. The next word is super important in Poland, and it's kościół, church. Basically, if you are going around Poland, very possible that you will be going or sightseeing around all those churches. So all around kościół, kościół, kościół. And for example, you can say, ten kościół został zbudowany w średniowieczu. Ten kościół został zbudowany w średniowieczu. This church was built in the Middle Ages. Ten kościół został zbudowany w średniowieczu. Yes, we do have a lot of kościół or a lot of churches in Poland. For example, in my hometown, Opole, we do have around four, I guess 1, 2, 3, maybe three, around three in just the city, the main part, the main city square in the city center. So it's like maybe 2 minutes from one church to another, and they're all different. So it's very nice for sightseeing or going around, but it's like literally maybe 2-3 minutes between one and the other. And when they have, like, you know, on Sunday you can hear the bells ringing in one church and another one, and 5 minutes later another one. So it's very funny. And yeah, we have a lot of churches in Poland, basically. Some of them very beautiful, so please check it out. Our next word is wodospad. Wodospad means waterfall, and basically the word itself is built like in English, so water is falling, and in Poland is wodospad. Spad, like go down, from spadać, and wodo from woda, from water, so the water is falling, wodospad. And for example, you can say, podobno tam jest duży wodospad. Podobno tam jest duży wodospad. There is supposed to be a big waterfall out there. Podobno tam jest duży wodospad. Well, we don't really have a lot of waterfalls in Poland. I guess if you go to the mountains, you will see like a small river and something like a waterfall, which can look beautiful. But I guess we have more lakes maybe, which are even more beautiful. So please be sure to check out Polish nature, because it's amazing. Our next word is a lot of fun, and it's wycieczka. Wycieczka means a tour, and if you find a nice wycieczka in an offer, maybe you can say pojedziemy na tę wycieczkę. Pojedziemy na tę wycieczkę. Are we going for this tour? And of course you can like go by yourself and go around and do sightseeing by yourself, but it's also very nice to get a tour, a guided tour. Especially if you go around Krakow, like you go to Auschwitz or you go to Wieliczka. And I think it's very important to get guided tour there, because first of all, it's very difficult to get there. And second of all, it's nice to go there with somebody who can tell you a little bit more about the place than just see the place. Zmniejszyć ilość śmieci. To reduce trash. Another very important thing to do is zmniejszyć ilość śmieci. Zmniejszyć ilość śmieci means to reduce the trash. And that's something you can do by your own as well. So one thing that has been done in Poland is, as I said before, you have to pay for your plastic bag, and people stopped buying those plastic bags because now they are aware that it costs money, and then it costs money to utilize it, right? So, and that's another like garbage that we don't need. So that's one thing we are doing to just zmniejszyć ilość śmieci. So for example, you can use it in a sentence like należy zmniejszyć ilość śmieci. Należy zmniejszyć ilość śmieci. We need to reduce the amount of garbage. Troszczyć się o środowisko. To care for the environment. Now our next one is an obvious one, yet some people really tend to neglect it. And that's troszczyć się o środowisko. To care for the environment. To care for the environment. So troszczyć się means to care, and then środowisko is the environment. Altogether troszczyć się o środowisko means to care for the environment. And you can use it in a sentence like wszyscy musimy troszczyć się o środowisko. Wszyscy musimy troszczyć się o środowisko. We all need to care for the environment. And true as it is, we often tend to like forget about it. And I guess in Poland right now, the biggest problem is that during the winter it's very cold, and you've got the central heating system, but very often you just burn stuff and then in your fireplace. And you know, even in the central heating, if you have a house, you will just burn things in the fireplace, and if it's cold, it's okay. But a lot of people, they don't have money to buy one, so they will just burn trash. And that's becoming a big issue right now in Poland. We have big pollution issues during the winter. Używać produktów przyjaznych dla środowiska. To use eco-friendly products. Our next word, or actually a phrase, is używać produktów przyjaznych dla środowiska. Używać produktów przyjaznych dla środowiska. To use eco-friendly products. So używać, as you probably already know, is to use something. And then produkt is a product. And then środowisko is environment. So produkt przyjazny dla środowiska means eco-friendly product. Przyjazny means like friendly or nice to you. So produkt przyjazny dla środowiska means eco-friendly product. And in a sentence you would use it like: czy używasz produktów przyjaznych dla środowiska? Czy używasz produktów przyjaznych dla środowiska? Do you use eco-friendly products? Now, the thing is that eco-friendly products are usually more expensive than the normal ones. And I guess even though it's better than it used to be, still a lot of people, they cannot afford it. So they just buy those cheap products that are not necessarily eco-friendly. And we still have issues with that in Poland, and I guess all around the world. But more and more people, especially in big cities, they kind of becoming aware of how important it is, and they don't really, they don't mind spending a little bit more if that's going to solve some issues regarding environment and environment pollution. Segregować śmieci. To separate garbage. And our next one is segregować śmieci. To separate garbage. So segregować means to separate, to divide by categories, and śmieci is garbage. And you can say, u mnie w domu segreguje się śmieci. U mnie w domu segreguje się śmieci. Which means in my house we separate garbage. In Poland, we do separate garbage, although, of course, it really depends on the household. It depends on where you live, if you even have access to those big garbage bins where you can throw away plastic bottles or like glass bottles or cans. Yeah, but if you do have access to that, and I guess more and more people do, then I guess most people will do it, will separate it, because it makes recycling easier, but it also makes your garbage problem easier, by which I mean that you are going to throw away it in those big bins that are being there on the street, so you have relatively less garbage at home. So it's easier for you to separate them and then to throw it away in those public bins that are over there. Lying there, sitting over there, just waiting for you to do it. Oczyszczać, to clean. So our next word may sound familiar, and it's oczyszczać, oczyszczać, to clean. You probably have heard the word czysty, czysty, clean as an adjective. So czysty, we transform it a little bit, and we have czyścić, so to clean something, and then we put the O in front of it, and it's oczyszczać. And the difference between czyścić and oczyszczać is that, well, czyścić is like, to clean your house, or to clean your plates, or to clean your, even your clothes, while oczyszczać is more for bigger things, so like to clean the rivers or the sea or something like that, or water, like drinking water. That's oczyszczać, is like for bigger purposes. And for example, you can say, musimy oczyścić powietrze. Musimy oczyścić powietrze. We need to clean the air. And just to wrap it up, in this particular sentence, oczyścić is the only word you could use. You couldn't use czyścić, like to clean, because that's just for the small things that you are, cleaning your house, or as I said, cleaning your plates or something like that, and not for bigger things like, like the air or seawater or water, drinking water or something like this. Złożyć wniosek o wolne. Złożyć wniosek o wolne. To request vacation time. Another important step is, if you are working, you need to złożyć wniosek o wolne. Złożyć wniosek o wolne. Złożyć means to put together, like the literal meaning is to put together, but here we use it as submit something. And a wniosek o wolne is just a form to get vacation. So altogether, we can translate as to request vacation time, but literally it just means to submit a form for vacation. And for example, you can say, złożyłeś już wniosek o wolne? Have you already requested vacation time? Złożyłeś już wniosek o wolne? Zarezerwować noclegi. Zarezerwować noclegi. To book accommodations. The next phrase is zarezerwować noclegi. Zarezerwować noclegi. So zarezerwować means to book, and here we are talking about noclegi. Noclegi is a plural form of nocleg, which just basically we translate it easily to accommodation. So zarezerwować noclegi means to book accommodation. And if you've already done this, you can say zarezerwowałam nam wszystkie noclegi. Zarezerwowałam nam wszystkie noclegi. I have booked our accommodations. Zarezerwowałam nam wszystkie noclegi. And actually the same here. Well, zarezerwowałam is for girls, so that's the feminine form. Zarezerwowałam, the ending, while guy would say zarezerwowałem. So the ending is wem. Zarezerwowałam, feminine, and zarezerwowałem, masculine. So choose your form. Choose the one to use. And I guess, you've got a wide range of different types of accommodation in Poland. You can choose a very cheap hostel, which we basically call the same hostel, or you can choose hotel. You can go for Airbnb or any kind of this stuff, like the kind of blah 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 again. So you can go for hotel or hostel or Airbnb kind of accommodation. And usually, I guess, the accommodation is not that expensive in Poland, although it depends on the season. And surprisingly enough, for Warsaw, the middle of summer is not high season. So if you want to visit Warsaw or even Krakow, the middle of summer, it should be on the lower season part, because people are going to the sea or to the mountains, just taking a break from big cities. So it's maybe the good time to go to big cities as well. Uzyskać międzynarodowe prawo jazdy. Uzyskać międzynarodowe prawo jazdy. To obtain an international driving license. Also, a very important thing to do if you want to drive around Poland is to obtain an international driving license. And in Poland we say, or in Polish we say, uzyskać międzynarodowe prawo jazdy. Uzyskać means to obtain or to get something, or get profit is the same uzyskać. Międzynarodowe, it means international. Między and this inter is kind of the same part of the word, and national or narodowe is the same part, so it's kind of like a literal translation. Prawo jazdy, driving license. Prawo jazdy, the right to drive. Prawo jazdy. But of course it's driving license. So uzyskać międzynarodowe prawo jazdy means to obtain an international driving license. And it's a very important step to do, because if you don't, you will not be able to rent a car and just drive around Poland, which is a very nice thing to do. For example, you can say, aby prowadzić samochód w innych krajach, musisz uzyskać międzynarodowe prawo jazdy. Aby prowadzić samochód w innych krajach, musisz uzyskać międzynarodowe prawo jazdy. Oh, that was long, but it literally means, or actually it means, aby prowadzić samochód w innych krajach, należy uzyskać międzynarodowe prawo jazdy. Aby prowadzić samochód w innych krajach, należy uzyskać międzynarodowe prawo jazdy. To drive in another country, you need to obtain an international driving license. Odnowić paszport. Odnowić paszport. To renew your passport. Okay, this is something really not to forget, and that's odnowić paszport. Odnowić means to renew, and paszport is passport. And please, please, please don't forget that, because I personally once did forget, or actually my boyfriend did. So we were almost going to Philippines, and I was like almost going to Philippines. We were at the airport and they were checking our passports, and they are looking at his passport and it says only 3 more months valid, and to go to Philippines you need 6 months, which was basically like, well, you lady can go, but he can't. And I was so furious. So please don't forget to do that. That's like the stupidest thing you can do. So one thing you can say is, muszę sobie odnowić paszport. I need to renew my passport. Muszę sobie odnowić paszport. Spakować się. Spakować się. To pack. Now, when you're almost going, you've got your ticket, you've got your passport, you've got your accommodations. Another thing you can do, or you have to do, is spakować się. Spakować się as a reflexive verb, and it means to pack yourself. Well, actually, it literally means to pack yourself, so we can say to pack as well. And for example, in a sentence, you can use it like this. Spakowałeś się już? Have you already packed? Spakowałeś się już? Kupić fotelik samochodowy. To buy a car seat. Our next phrase is very descriptive, and it's kupić fotelik samochodowy. Kupić, to buy, fotelik, sit, samochodowy, car. So kupić fotelik samochodowy means just to buy a car seat. You can say, musimy kupić fotelik samochodowy. Musimy kupić fotelik samochodowy. We need to buy a car seat. Nakarmić, to feed. Our next phrase, or actually our next verb, is nakarmić. Nakarmić. Nakarmić means to feed, but it's a perfective form of this verb. So already, like when we suggest that somebody will be full after that, nakarmić, that's already over, finished. Even though we can use it in a future tense, it still means like something finished, like perfective, not imperfective. And for example, you can say, trzeba go chyba nakarmić. Trzeba go chyba nakarmić. One has to feed him. Popychać wózek. To push a stroller. Our next phrase is popychać wózek. So popychać means to push, the same as pchać. And wózek means stroller. So popychać wózek means to push a stroller. And for example, you can say, tatuś z dumą popycha wózek. Tatuś z dumą popycha wózek. Daddy proudly pushes the stroller. Tatuś z dumą popycha wózek. Czytać książkę. To read a book. So our next phrase is czytać książkę. Czytać książkę means to read a book. For example, if you're asking somebody if he or she reads books to his children or her children, you will ask, czytasz książki swoim dzieciom? Czytasz książki swoim dzieciom? Do you read books to your children? Przygotować posiłek dla niemowląt. To make baby food. Our last phrase for today is przygotować posiłek dla niemowląt. Niemowlę, or in the plural form niemowlęta, means just babies. So przygotować posiłek dla niemowląt means to make baby food. And for example, you can say, muszę przygotować posiłek dla niemowląt. Muszę przygotować posiłek dla niemowląt. I have to make baby food. Nie lubię poznawać nowych ludzi. I don't like meeting new people. Another one is not so much for a tourist as for a person just meeting new people. Well, I guess if you are a tourist, you will meet a lot of new people, and that's the point where you shouldn't use this phrase. Nie lubię poznawać nowych ludzi. Nie lubię poznawać nowych ludzi, which basically means I don't like meeting new people. And if you are telling it to a person you've just met, well, that's a big faux pas you shouldn't make. So please try to avoid it. Zjedzmy w McDonaldzie. Let's just eat at McDonald's. Another one that is a big no-no is zjedzmy w McDonaldzie. Zjedzmy w McDonaldzie, which means let's just eat at McDonald's. And yes, of course, if you are going to another country, people would like you to try their own food, and the same is in Poland, and the same goes anywhere you go. So like, for example, one of my Polish friends, he came to Japan, and Japan, amazing food, and he was eating McDonald's every day and spending much more money than he should on it because it's actually pretty expensive. And he never ever tried like this good Japanese food. So I guess all the people he knew from Japan, they felt a little bit offended. And it would be the same for me from Poland. So if you come to Poland and you are like, I will not try Polish food. Like, let's just go to McDonald's. Let's just eat at McDonald's. Like, why? Why are you even here? Why don't you want to like get to know new culture, right? So please try to avoid this. Nudy. Boring. Nudy. Nudy or nudy means boring. And that's something you don't want to say, not even like as a tourist, but as a friend, or if you go to Polish home, or Polish house, or whenever you talk to Polish people, you are sitting around anybody who can understand Polish, and you say like, oh, it's so boring, nudy. No, that's something you don't want to do, ever. And that's goes the same in any other language, I guess, and not even if you're a tourist, but if you're like in your own country and just speaking with somebody who speaks Polish, please don't do this. Not good. To smakuje okropnie. This tastes awful. To smakuje okropnie. To smakuje okropnie. To smakuje okropnie means this tastes awful. This tastes awful. Yeah, something you wouldn't like to tell somebody, especially if this person, your Polish friend, cooked you a wonderful dinner and you got this opportunity to try all this different Polish food. And then you are like, to smakuje okropnie. No, not a good thing to do in any country, Polish or Poland included. Zostanę dzisiaj w hotelu. I'm going to spend the day in the hotel. Another one that somebody may actually feel offended is zostanę dzisiaj w hotelu. Zostanę dzisiaj w hotelu. I'm going to spend a day in the hotel. So yes, obviously, zostanę dzisiaj w hotelu is something you wouldn't like to hear if you are like, if your friend comes to your country and you want to show them like everything and you prepared everything and you've got this whole one-day schedule, sightseeing schedule, and they say, nah, today I will just stay at the hotel, zostanę dzisiaj w hotelu, and I would just eat at McDonald's, I would just, zjem w McDonaldzie, I will eat at McDonald's. And this is, showing that you have no interest whatsoever in the country you just came to. And it's a very bad way to start a relationship with a country like that or with a person from that country. A big no-no, please don't do it.
Want to speak real Polish from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at polishpod101.com.
Cześć! hello. Cześć, which basically means hello. And for example, if you meet your friend, you can say cześć, jak się masz? Hi, hello. Hi, how are you? Cześć, jak się masz? Just be prepared to hear the very, very long answer for the part how are you. So our next phrase is dzień dobry. Dzień dobry means good morning in English, but actually what it literally means is dzień, which is a day, and dobry, which is good. So actually what you are saying, it's good day. That's why we can use it through the whole day, not only in the morning. You can say it in the evening as well, or in the afternoon. You can say it to your friends or to your family and to a person you don't know as well. So feel free to use it anytime you want. And our next phrase is dobry wieczór. Dobry wieczór means good evening, literally means good evening. For example, through the whole day you would say dzień dobry, but at the end of the day you would say dobry wieczór. Now, actually, a lot of people, it's very difficult to know when can you start saying that, when can you start saying dobry wieczór instead of dzień dobry. So a lot of people I know starts with like dzień dobry, they want to say dzień dobry, but they notice it's already evening and they say like dzień dobry wieczór, which is the funny way of saying that. You can try it if you want. Dobranoc. Dobranoc means good night. So you would usually use it before going to bed, when you want to say bye to your family or to your friends, and just you are sleepy, you will just say dobranoc. Dobranoc, it's one word, but it actually came from two different words. So like dobra, which means good, and noc, night. So it literally means good night, but it's one word right now. The next phrase is jak się nazywasz? Jak się nazywasz? Which means, what is your name? If you meet a new person, you can use it, but remember that this phrase will be better to use with people of the same age or people younger, because it literally means, what is your name, not what is your name, sir, or what is your name, ma'am. That's why it's not too good to use for like older people. It's better to use it for your friends, for people the same age, or for younger people, for children as well. So once again, jak się nazywasz? Jak się nazywasz? What's your name? Jak się nazywasz? What is your name? So if you meet somebody and you ask this person, jak się nazywasz? You may hear an answer like, nazywam się Ania. My name is Ania. Ania is actually a pretty common name in Poland. Or nazywam się Marzena. My name is Marzena. Jak się masz? How are you? Jak się masz means how are you? And you may hear an answer like dobrze, which means good. But actually, probably more often you will hear a very, very long answer and it won't be good. Because in Poland, it is not so common to ask, jak się masz. You do ask that, but you ask that only, people you are very close friends with. And you kind of need to expect a longer answer and that people will actually tell you the truth about their life and what wrong happened in it. And it's usually wrong because Polish people love complaining. So be careful with this one. If you don't have time for a longer talk, just don't ask it. Skąd jesteś? Where are you from? Skąd jesteś? Where are you from? So you may hear this question if somebody notices that you are not from Poland. And for example, if you are from America, you can answer z Ameryki, from America. So basically you just put z and then the country. Kiedy masz urodziny? When is your birthday? And if you make new friends, you may hear a question like, kiedy masz urodziny? Which means, when is your birthday? And a good answer for that would be just giving, the month and day. You don't have to answer in a whole sentence. So you can say, for example, 8 lutego. 8 lutego, which is February 8th. This is actually my birthday. Gdzie mieszkasz? Where do you live? Another question you may hear is, Gdzie mieszkasz? Gdzie mieszkasz? Gdzie mieszkasz means where do you live? And when you can answer like in details, telling the street, saying the street and everything else, or you can just, say, mieszkam w Krakowie, which means I live in Krakow. Być. To be. Być. Być actually means to be, so yeah, you can say like być albo nie być, which just means to be or not to be. And of course, in Polish, all those verbs will be changing, depends on the person. So for example, if I want to say I'm happy, I would just say jestem szczęśliwa. Lubić. To like. Lubić. Lubić means just to like something. So whenever you're asking somebody, what do you like? Or you want to say, I like this, you would use this verb. Of course, change it depending on the person. For example, you can say, lubisz lody? Do you like ice cream? Robić. To do. Robić. Robić means to do. So you can say, what are you doing today? Co dzisiaj robisz? Mówić. To say. Mówić. So when you translate it to English, it just means to say. You can get angry at somebody. Nie mów takich rzeczy, which means don't say such things. Wyjaśnić. To explain. Wyjaśnić. Wyjaśnić means to explain. When you're angry at somebody or you don't understand something or you want to ask for help and you want to say, can you explain this? You can use this one and you can say, możesz to wyjaśnić? Can you explain this? And depends on your tone, it can be asking for a favor. Możesz to wyjaśnić? Or it can be getting really angry at somebody and just willing them to, explain why they did it and say, możesz to wyjaśnić? Ile to kosztuje? How much is this? Ile to kosztuje? How much is this? So you go to a shop and you see an item and there is no price tag, which still can be pretty common. And you want to ask, how much is this? You just say, ile to kosztuje? And a good answer for that would be, for example, 35 złotych i 20 groszy, which means 35 zloci and 20 groszy. Kochać, to love. Kochać. That one is very good for Valentine's Day. So kochać means to love. And for example, you love your sweetheart, but sometimes you don't really understand this person. So you can say like, kocham cię, ale czasem cię nie rozumiem. Which means I love you, but sometimes I don't understand you. Świetnie dzisiaj wyglądasz. You look great today. So the first one is, świetnie dzisiaj wyglądasz. You look great today. So that's a good one. You can say it to your friends. You can say it to somebody from your family. You wouldn't say it to a person you don't know, like, random person on the street, which you do in some other countries. But everybody will feel better with this one. Świetnie dzisiaj wyglądasz. You look great today. Tęsknię za tobą. I miss you. Tęsknię za tobą. Tęsknię za tobą means I miss you. So this is something you would say to a person close to you, to somebody from your family. Well, somebody, you don't have to address as a sir, a ma'am. You can write it to a person you love, for example, or to your mom, to your dad. Wykonałeś świetną robotę. You did a great job. Wykonałeś świetną robotę. You did a great job. This is a phrase, I guess, that you will hear at a company. Maybe your boss will tell you that, or your supervisor, or maybe your teacher even. but somebody you know who is above you and he will prize you for whatever you've done. Dobrze gotujesz. You're an excellent cook. Dobrze gotujesz. Dobrze gotujesz means you are an excellent cook. And this is very important in Poland especially. We do love food and we do love, you know, our homemade food. So whenever you want to marry into Polish family, be sure to be a good cook. And we do cook a lot. We do cook a lot in Poland. We don't really go out, eating out. So phrase like, you know, dobrze gotujesz, it's a compliment and a very, very good one. Chrząszcz. Beetle. So the first word is, and I promise you this is the most difficult word you will ever learn in Polish, as for the pronunciation, is chrząszcz. I will just say it again. Chrząszcz, which means beetle. Yeah, so we use it a lot for tongue twisters. Like, for example, a very famous one is chrząszcz brzmi w Szczecinie, w Szczebrzeszynie, which means beetle sounds in the reeds in a town called Szczebrzeszyn, which makes it even more difficult to say. Chrząszcz brzmi w Szczecinie, w Szczebrzeszynie. Ah, yeah, that was correct. Córka, daughter. Córka. Córka means daughter. And if you want to say like your little daughter, you can say córeczka, which is a bit sweeter way of calling your daughter. If your daughter is studying Polish, you can say moja córka uczy się polskiego, which means my daughter is learning Polish. Drożdżówka, yeast cake. Drożdżówka, yeast cake. So if you've ever been in Poland, you probably saw those deliciously looking cakes or like buns. And that's actually what drożdżówka is. We have it with marmalade, we have it with poppy seed, we have it with cheese, anything you can imagine basically. And they're delicious, so everybody remembers it from like when they were children and eating it almost every day and not getting fatter. So for example, if you like this one with poppy seed, you can say uwielbiam drożdżówki z makiem, which means I love the yeast bun with poppy seeds. Dziękuję, thank you. Dziękuję. Dziękuję is just thank you, yet it's quite difficult to pronounce. Dziękuję. So if you want to say thank you for everything you've done for me, you can say dziękuję za wszystko, co dla mnie zrobiłeś. Thank you for everything you have done for me. Książka, book. Książka. Książka, it's a book. So if you see a book and you are not sure what it is and want to ask like what kind of book is that, what is this book, you just, you know, look at it, you point at it and you say, co to za książka? What is this book? And next phrase is dobrze. Dobrze means okay. So for example, when your friends asks you to go somewhere or like, do you want to go grab something to eat together, and you can say tak, or you can say dobrze, let's go. Yeah, sure, okay, let's go. Or if they ask you if you want to go together for a trip, you can say yeah, sure, dobrze. Yeah, I want to go. The next phrase is przepraszam. Przepraszam has many different meanings. So it can mean excuse me, but it also can mean I'm sorry. So you would see a lot of Polish people mixing excuse me and I'm sorry in English because it's actually one word in Polish. So for example, when you stepped on somebody's leg, you can say przepraszam. When you did something wrong, you can say przepraszam. When you want to pass through like crowd of people, you can say przepraszam, przepraszam and find your way out. If you did something wrong, you can say przepraszam as well. So it's actually a pretty useful one. So it means excuse me, but it means I'm sorry in the same time. Przepraszam. Przepraszam means I'm sorry. Actually, the next phrase is która jest godzina? Która jest godzina means what time is it? If you want to ask somebody, excuse me, what time is it now? You can say przepraszam, która jest godzina? So let's go to the next one. Another very useful phrase, gdzie jest toaleta? Gdzie jest toaleta? Which means, where's the toilet? So, gdzie means actually where, jest means be or to be, and toaleta is toilet. So, gdzie jest toaleta means where is the toilet. So, if you are in a shopping mall or in a restaurant and you want to ask, excuse me, where is the toilet, you will say, przepraszam, gdzie jest toaleta? The next phrase is poczekaj chwilkę. Poczekaj means to wait, and chwilkę means a moment, and together it means wait a moment, please. When you see your friend going somewhere, but you still want to talk to him or her, and you can just, call them and then say, poczekaj chwilkę.
Want to speed up your language learning? Take your very first lesson with us.
Want to speak real Polish from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at polishpod101.com.
So the first word is, and I promise you this is the most difficult word you will ever learn in Polish, as for the pronunciation, is chrząszcz. I will just say it again. Chrząszcz, which means beetle. Yeah, so we use it a lot for tongue twisters. Like, for example, a very famous one is chrząszcz brzmi w Szczecinie, w Szczebrzeszynie, which means beetle sounds in the reeds in a town called Szczebrzeszyn, which makes it even more difficult to say. Chrząszcz brzmi w Szczecinie, w Szczebrzeszynie. Oh yeah, that was correct. Lubić. Lubić means just to like something, so whenever you're asking somebody, what do you like, or you want to say, I like this, you would use this verb. Of course, change it depending on the person. For example, you can say, lubisz lody? Do you like ice cream? Which basically means hello. And for example, if you meet your friend, you can say, cześć, jak się masz? Hi, hello. Hi, how are you? Cześć, jak się masz? Just be prepared to hear the very, very long answer for the part, how are you? Mówić. So when you translate it to English, it just means to say. You can get angry at somebody. Nie mów takich rzeczy, which means don't say such things. Kochać. That one is very good for Valentine's Day. So kochać means to love. And for example, you love your sweetheart, but sometimes you don't really understand this person. So you can say like, kocham cię, ale czasem cię nie rozumiem. Which means I love you, but sometimes I don't understand you. Słyszeć. Słyszeć means to hear in English. And for example, you can say, słyszałam, że tu mają dobre pierogi. I've heard they have good dumplings here. So if you're a girl, you would say słyszałam, I've heard. If you're a guy, you would say słyszałem. So słyszałam, słyszałem. It will change a little bit depending on the gender. You can basically take this sentence and put something different at the end and use it as a kind of set phrase. Słyszałem, że, słyszałam, że. Niespodzianka. Niespodzianka means a surprise, and this noun is actually very, very funny because it comes from two different words. So nie, which is basically a negation, means no, and spodzianka, it's from spodziewać się, which means to expect something. So it's like not expecting something or something that is not expected, which basically gives you a surprise. For example, imagine that you are in this long-distance relationship with your girlfriend, and then she doesn't say anything and she just comes to you with no notice, and you open the door and you're very surprised to see her there, and then you say, a to mi zrobiłaś niespodziankę. Oh, you sure surprised me. Wiedzieć. Wiedzieć is translated to English as to know, and it is a little bit tricky verb because people often confuse it with another verb, znać, and both actually are translated as to know into English. So, for example, you can say, nic nie wiem. I do not know anything. Nic nie wiem. I do not know anything. So the next word is spać, which means to sleep. And for example, when you meet your friend in the morning and you want to ask, like, did you sleep well? In Polish, we would say, wyspałaś się, if that's a girl, or wyspałeś się, if that's a guy. I know that this wyspałaś się doesn't really sound like spać because we attach wy in front of it, but it actually is the same verb. Again, for a girl, you can say wyspałaś się, did you sleep well? Or for a guy, wyspałeś się, przyjść, to come. For example, you are at the party and you want to know who is coming. So you ask your friend, who is the organizer, kto przyjdzie na przyjęcie? Who is coming to the party? Okay, so the next word is szczęśliwy, which basically means happy. Well, let's go back to this Valentine's Day, and when you are with your sweetheart and you want to say how happy you are with him, you can say, jestem z tobą bardzo szczęśliwa, which means I'm very happy with you. And this is something that a girl would say. If you're a guy, you just have to change this last part. Szczęśliwa, szczęśliwy. Patrzeć, which means to look. So, for example, you can say when you saw something weird and you want to show it to your friend, or something interesting, popatrz tam, look there, zdrowy. Zdrowy means healthy, and there is this very common Polish saying that you can use. It's w zdrowym ciele, zdrowy duch, which means in a healthy body, a healthy mind. Dać. Dać means to give. So when you go out and you meet this nice guy or a cute girl and you want to ask them for their email address, you'd ask them using dać. Dasz mi swój email? Will you give me your email address? Czenia później. And it means see you later. When you are going back home, you want to say bye to your friends, coworkers, classmates or anybody else, you can say, no to do zobaczenia później. Well, see you later. Znaleźć. Znaleźć means to find. Imagine your friend brought you a nice dress and which you are going to wear at a party, but you don't really like it. It doesn't sit you well and you want to ask her to find you something better. So you can say, może uda się znaleźć coś lepszego, which means maybe we can find something better. Przepraszam means I'm sorry. Zapytać. Zapytać means to ask. Sometimes when you want to ask for something which is very difficult to ask for, and, you know, just to be nice, you want to say, like, can I ask you something? In Polish you can say, czy mogę cię o coś zapytać? Or you can even ask, excuse me, can I ask you something? Przepraszam, czy mogę cię o coś zapytać? Gdzie jest toaleta? Which means, where's the toilet? So, gdzie means actually where. Jest means be or to be, and toaleta is toilet. So, gdzie jest toaleta means where is the toilet. So, if you are in a shopping mall or in a restaurant and you want to ask, excuse me, where is the toilet, you will say, przepraszam, gdzie jest toaleta? Wejść. Wejść means to enter or to come in. Well, when your friend visits you and you want to just say, please come in, please, or just, you know, you can say, wejdź proszę, which means literally, come in, please. Ile to kosztuje means, how much is this? When you go to a shop, you will say, przepraszam, ile to kosztuje? So, excuse me, how much is this? Przepraszam, ile to kosztuje? Próbować. Próbować means to try. Let's say your friend is visiting and you made this wonderful food, amazing dishes, and you want him or her to try it. You can invite them saying, spróbuj to, which means try it, pomocy. This means help, and I hope you will not have to use this one anytime soon. But if you are ever in danger, if you ever in a like very dangerous situation, which I hope you will not be in Poland, You can use this one, saying pomocy, zadzwonić. So zadzwonić means to call. And let's say somebody calls you and you cannot really talk right now, so you want to say, okay, I will call you back later. You just say zadzwonię potem. I will call later. I can't speak Polish very well. Nie potrafię means I can't. Mówić means to speak. And then po polsku means in Polish. So nie potrafię mówić po polsku. It literally means I can't speak Polish very well, or I can't speak in Polish very well if you wanted a very literal translation. When you start learning the language and you are still not so good and you meet like people and you want to tell them that your Polish it's not so good or it's not super good yet, you can use this phrase. Nie potrafię dobrze mówić po polsku.
Want to speed up your language learning? Take your very first lesson with us. You'll start speaking in minutes and master real conversations. Sign up for your free lifetime account. Just click the link in the description.